What's up, YouTube? Welcome back. Today I'm gonna talk to you about why dropshipping is dead. Kinda. Why it doesn't work, but it also does. Uh, in this subject, why I say it doesn't work. It's regarding that this is your first business. I've been doing dropshipping for about 2 years, two and something. I've learned quite a bit. I've had a few cooperations with the bigger companies overseas. I've been building product stores and just Shopify stores for other people. While being in a dropshipping course for about 2 years and having a mentorship program as well for about 1 year from a multi-millionaire dropshipper that doesn't really dropship anymore. But yeah, it. So let's just get into it. So about dropshipping, it does work. The whole thing works. The whole e-com thing works. There's many different types. You can have print on demand. You can have your just dropshipping store, just dropshipping in general. But e-com, it does. You can sell digital products. It could be a PDF. It's just e-com in general. It's just digital products. It doesn't necessarily need to be a physical product that you ship from a warehouse that you don't need to have yourself. So let's get this straight. The business model works, all right. Why I say it doesn't work, kinda, is because when you're starting out, if you're aiming to have dropshipping as your first business, you're gonna be held back by quite a bit by the budget that you have accessible to you, and my point isn't that you need money to make money. You can still make it. You're just gonna have to be very, very patient with it, because when it comes to drop shipping, a lot of people get this wrong. They think you get one winning product, it lasts forever. No, it doesn't. Each product has kind of like a product life cycle, which is typically and generally about 8 months. You can find products that last longer and some last shorter. Take the fidget spinner, for instance. The product died eventually, but it was a very popular product and it spread worldwide, so it was alive for about, what was it, like 2-3 years. But then you have something like a hand grip strength thing, lasts for not exactly this product. I got this at a climbing gym. No, not the dropshipped version. It's like you put it. It's like got 5 circles and you put it around your finger, and it's to prevent. I never got the thing about that product, because when you exercise your grip like this, squeezing, you increase your strength. But when you do it like the other way around, it's just to prevent injury. False marketing. There's a lot of false marketing in dropshipping. If you do it yourself, you probably know that by now. We got that down. Each product has their own like life cycle, hence why different brands that actually make an income, they try a bunch of different products to try and bring in to kind of keep the income growing. So whenever their popular product dies out, they have a bunch of others that are working, and they can push aside their budget to the other ones. And that's why you see a lot of like single product brands have a lot of upsells and cross sells. But that's also for a different reason, just to make them AOV much better, so it makes sense to market it. Some products doesn't make sense to market if you only got, let's say you get $10. That's very low. $10 profit each time you get a sell from your main product. You might as well like bring in some extra stuff and make that into 25, because if it costs you $8 to get a customer, you're basically only making $2 profit each sale. Doesn't make any sense. You want at least to have a profit margin of like between 20 to 30%. Beneath that, it just doesn't make sense unless you already got a huge budget and plan to sell in bulks. Yeah, so the key about succeeding in dropshipping is the momentum. You need to have that momentum to continuously be able to test products, because let's say and you need a team with you. You can do it alone. I did it alone mostly. It took me like to build like a proper brand. It took me like I tested, I think, like 5-6 products in a year, And when I started cooperating with this big business in the United States with a bunch of like digital nomads from all over the world, uh, they basically have a whole team, like 5 people just dedicated to building websites. I was one of them for a short period of time, uh, and then you have a whole team dedicated to researching and analyzing upcoming products and trends, and then you have a whole team just with the marketing side. Uh, I was working with the web developers because I really like building stores. I think it was quite fun. The visual design, just building it, making everything look visually appealing. Yeah, I thought it was quite fun. Uh, so that's really what kept me going with dropshipping for so long. Just building stores was very interesting, and you learn so much every time. Every time you built a new brand, a new store, a new product, it was always something different, a different puzzle to solve. Uh, but yeah, momentum is based by speed. So you get more data by the higher speed you have. So let's say if you have, if you want data, let's say you need, let's say you want like 10,000 engagement with your ad, or you want at least like 10 sales, whatever margin you use to calculate it with, on one ad set or whatever. So okay, you need to spend this much on each product to get enough data to make a decision whether to keep this product going or not. And so you get that data, you get it from your ads, right? And on basically with Meta or whatever platform you use to advertise on, you can set your budget so it spends, let's say, 50 euros a day or $50 a day, or you can set it to $10 a day. I had between like 10 and 20 because I was just doing this on my own, paying with my 9 to 5 job. So the speed was quite slow. I had to wait like 2 weeks before I could make like a decision based on data, whereas some business can do it in a day or 2 or 3. Some people, I think the brand I worked with, they launched like 6-7 brands a week, and that's when I realized that okay, I'm launching 6-7 brands like a year. The speed is just not there. So your competition is very strong because they have a bigger budget to be able to test multiple products every week, whereas you have to fight really hard to get a single winning product just by yourself. Being a one-man job is just going to reduce the speed, and that's why I say it can work on your own, but you're competing with people doing 10x what you're doing in a day. So you need a team, or you need some friends. You need to group up together if you want to have a chance to compete against these guys. And even when you do find a winning product, I found a few. I think the best, the last product I had before I resigned from dropshipping, or I switched products. I'll be coming back to dropshipping in a few years when I have a bigger budget. I'll still recommend you do it because you learn a lot of valuable lessons. Because now if I return, I could just hand out the tasks. I already know everything by muscle memory. So I could just assign tasks to people. They could perform it. I could focus on the business core and how to grow the business instead of doing the actual work of like building at the store, doing the marketing and researching. And the problem is when you find a winning product. What was I talking about? The last product I had that was a winning product. My AOV was like $79-$80. I made like $3,000 on it in a month, but yeah, it just didn't make sense for me to continue with that. Because at the moment I had a different winning product prior to that, but some competitor just copyright striked my product, so I couldn't sell it anymore. Shopify banned me from selling it, which is quite something, because you can't really prove that it's your product anyway, because you're drop shipping it just like your competitor. But I decided not to be a douchebag about it. I said, okay, sure, fine, you can have that product. I'll just find another one. So yeah, your competitors can ban you from selling your products. But you also have the problem is when you find a winning product, as soon as you launch your ads, you're gonna have like 8 guys seeing your ads on ads library, and you're gonna have a bunch of competitors in just a day or two, and they're gonna be doing the exact same thing you're doing. They're gonna have probably a bigger budget than you, so they're gonna reach a lot more people than you a lot faster. And there's a lot of people that use these spy tools nowadays. So you're in if you're making sales, people are gonna see you making sales. And if they see that you're selling well, you're gonna have even more competitors. The only thing that you have unique to yourself is your brand. That's why it's so important that you do your brand well. Uh, that's why I spent so many hours working nights and days, getting that brand and that touch, the development of the store, the visual appeal, the trust that you need to build with your brand. Uh, on your website, it needs to be good, or you're not going to make any sales. So it's going to consume a lot of your time just to build that brand, because you can't know if a product is good or not if your store isn't good enough. And you could use, I did it the hard way. I learned everything manually, and I learned how to do everything like because I wanted the full customization of every pixel on the screen. I wanted to be able to edit anything I could. So I learned it the difficult way, but you could set it up with like some free themes and stuff, or you could pay for a theme too, or you could pay some other guy to do it for you, if you don't want to go down that advanced route. For instance, Shrine is a pretty good option. If a brand isn't working for you, you can still like switch. You can still use the same theme that you paid for on a different product. You just switch it out. It's pretty easy to work with. Sometimes limited in design options depending on what you want. But I'd recommend Shrine Pro or something. It's pretty good. It's not that costly if you're gonna use it to test multiple products. It's just gonna be like it's definitely worth it. I'd still recommend you do dropshipping besides these things, because you're gonna learn a lot of valuable lessons about discipline, about work ethic, about researching. You're gonna learn about a lot of things, especially if you're mixing AI with it too. AI was my companion the entire way. It was my best friend and my only colleague. Yeah, and because you can get a ton of research done. Like I think I got like 4 hours of research and copywriting done in like 5 minutes. If you learn how to use AI properly, you'll save yourself a lot of time, and you'll work with a lot of efficiency. Because that's also one up you can do against your competitors with a larger budget. You can produce better quality of your store and copywriting, and get a more concise targeting group audience with using AI. You just need to learn how to use AI properly. A lot of people don't know how to do the prompts. They don't know how to engineer properly, and you can really use that to your advantage. Working with dropshipping alone is going to be difficult, time consuming, and you'll need to be patient. You can't expect results. You can always see some lucky guy with on TikTok or whatever. I don't use TikTok, on social medias. Oh yeah, I just did dropshipping for 3 months. Now I'm a multi-millionaire. Probably not true. I'll be honest. And beware of these gurus about dropshipping as well. A lot of people show their sales. They don't show their cost per customer. They don't show their advertising budget or their COGS, cost per acquisition. So it's a lot of these numbers don't make sense. Like I could be making 700 grand in sales, but he spends 680 grand trying to get them. It makes no profit basically. So be careful of that as well. If you're gonna do drop shipping, just keep that in mind, that you need to be patient. Don't expect results. Things are going to be very difficult, but it is definitely worth it. What you're gonna need to go through, who you're gonna need to become through that process. Your stress tolerance is gonna go up because you're gonna be stressed. You're gonna feel like you always have work to do. You're never gonna be finished. It's definitely worth it. I'll quit dropshipping now for like half a year, but I'll definitely return to it later once I have a bigger budget to allocate to my marketing, or I can possibly hire someone to do certain tasks for me to save me some time. It's definitely a more effective way of doing it. But if you're just if you're just a teenager trying to make some money, I'd recommend you do it for the lessons only. Don't expect it to make you rich, and definitely not very quickly. But it's definitely a source of income as well. It could work. You just need to be patient and remember that analyzing and looking at your competitors and being aware of them is the challenging part there. But dropshipping, mostly like the day-to-day work besides designing your store. Your line of work is basically just responding to feedback. You do something, you look at the data, respond to feedback. You look at the data, respond to feedback the next day. It is just a repeating process of just feedback. It's all about making the customer happy and listening to your customer. What do they say? What do the reviews say? What do people say about your brand? Just feedback and numbers really. Once you got the whole template and set up, that your day-to-day work is just responding to feedback pretty much, and looking at numbers, making sure the data is right. So with that included, we got talked about the product life cycle. That's important to keep in mind. And we talked about momentum. Budget is momentum. Your ad spend budget is your momentum of being able to test how many products you can afford at what speed. And we talked about the competitors being able to just steal your products and possibly ban you from them at times. There's so many spy tools nowadays. Every competitor can just look at your sales. They can look at where you're dropshipping, where you market to, what countries. They can know exactly where you get, what channel you get your traffic from, if it's Snapchat, Instagram, or Facebook, or TikTok. But the strengths that you do have on your own is your brand, how you build your brand, how you design your store, how you Photoshop your product images, how you all the visual appeal they cannot copy. Sure, you can get they can hire some good guy to copy your stuff, or if they're good themselves, they can just copy it. I've done it many times. Just copy something and make it better. But your brand is the authenticity of your business, and a lot of customers are gonna see that, and that's what they're gonna base their trust off. A lot of customers, they just click the link from your ad, then they spend about 7 seconds to decide if they trust your store or not. A lot of people just click off if you do your store pretty poorly. And also, if you have this tool, I used to have this tool on my Shopify store, so you can see what countries, and you can basically record. So whenever people go into your store, you can see like what they're doing on your store, how they're scrolling, what they stop at, what they're reading, etc., etc. You can't track any information really, just see which country they come from. And you'll quickly notice that like 80% of people clicking your store are not from the countries that you're marketing to, and it's just other dropshippers just trying to find some gold, trying to see if they should take your product or not. The strengths you do have is your brand and your capability to use AI to your advantage, because AI is gonna make your work more efficient and quick. It's going to help you to move nearly as quickly as some of these teams of people working with dropshipping. If you need to master how to use your ChatGPT, how to become a prompt engineer. It's one of the key things. It's up there. It's just as important as product research, building a store, brand, and trust, and credibility, and your marketing. It's definitely AI is a fourth section. If you don't use AI, you don't stand a chance. Honestly, you don't. You're competing with guys like with full teams, and they use AI too. So yeah, it's your only shot. But still, I'd recommend you do it, even though it's gonna be hard, it's gonna be challenging. I still recommend you do it. I think I've said enough. I've talked for too long. If there's anything I should develop on, just let me know. I'll be happy to talk about it. Yeah, see you later, man.